Well, it's been a little bit of a challenge to find a place where the wind's not affecting the mics so much, but I walked around till I found a kind of sheltered area among these cedar trees, so maybe that'll be of some help. So anyway, I've got a brand new report to share with you guys. Then when I say brand new, I mean this is November 2020. This report is from November 2020. These folks sent me this report like, let's see, the night after it happened. So this is about as fresh as it gets here. And this is a gentleman that has contacted me, and actually I've met face to face, and he shared this information. His name's Malcolm. His wife's name is Sabrina. He told me it's okay to use their first names. And I appreciate Malcolm and Sabrina for sharing this with me and allowing me to share it with you folks as well. So I'll just get right to it. And this is November 2020, and the email he sent says, "Hey David, thought I would share with you what happened to my wife and I this evening." He says, "Well, like I'd told you, I got a new infrared monocular the other day and have been itching to use it in a good setting." He said, "I've been wanting to go to Honobia, so we decided to ride that way this afternoon, and we got there pretty much at the right time, just a little after sunset." He said, "I wanted to show my wife how to use it and did so while sitting in the Honobia store parking lot." So he said, "I showed her a little bit about it and handed it to her, and we proceeded to head up the old Indian Highway. So as we were slowly heading up, she was watching the wood line, and he said we stopped at one road to go down it, but he said it was marked private. So they went on up a little further, and he said I found an open area, and it was a little road that looked like it was used by 4x4s and such. And if you guys have, any of y'all have ever been in that area, very densely wooded area around Honobia. It's there in Leflore County. You know, now it's famous. It has the Bigfoot Festival there every year and all. So roads like he's talking about, you'll just be driving along just impenetrable forest on both sides, and you'll find these little 4x4 roads. So he said they pulled in and they stopped. And he said my wife was having a blast with how far back she was able to see into the wood line. Where we stopped was kind of open on my side, but wooded on hers, so she was still looking in the woods. This was somewhere around 6:30 p.m. We sat in the truck for a little while, and my wife asked if I wanted to do a couple of tree knocks just to see what would happen. And he said I was like, sure, of course. So he said I stepped out and was amazed at the aroma from the fresh pines, and I concur, man. There's nothing like the smell of the forest, that's for sure. He said, so anyway, he said, I'm looking for a couple of sticks in which to do some wood knocks. And he said, we were passing the monocular back and forth a bit. And then he said, then I smelled a skunky, wet dog / bad body odor smell. And he said they quickly jumped back in the truck. And about that time, he said his wife said something about the smell while looking with the monocular into the woods. And then immediately she whispered, something is out there, it's right there. And then she hands him the monocular, and he says, I'm searching, and asks, where are you looking? And she described the tree, and when I find it, I get a quick glimpse of a hairy body edge and what looked like a hairy arm swing across the view screen. Couldn't see anything else. This was so close inside the wood line. He said he jerked the monocular down and said, you didn't wave in front of the monocular, did you? And she said, no, my hands have been in my lap since I handed them to you. She said it was something standing behind the tree, and it was big. So he said they were both so startled that they just backed out and quickly left. So he said it was way too close to them and very unfamiliar surrounding. And he said, frankly, he said, I was not expecting an incident like this to happen so quickly. And he said this was our first trip to that area, but definitely not the last. And he said he was thinking about going up and looking in the area for footprints. And since this was so close, I'll say, Malcolm, Sabrina, if you find any footprints, if they're good enough, deep enough where you can, get a cast of those prints. If not, take a picture of them with something for reference. If you got a tape measure there, that's ideal. Or if not, just have your foot beside it. But take some pictures of those prints if there are prints indeed there. And anyway, I emailed him back to see if they could give a little more detailed description of what his wife had seen, and said, "Can you give me a more detailed description of the object that your wife's seen behind the tree?" And he got back to me and he said, "My wife, through the monocular, the best as she could tell, that this creature was between 7 and 8 feet tall and about 3.5 feet wide at the shoulders, and said that the head was really big and wide. It was bipedal, standing up straight. They could not make out any facial features of it in the infrared." So he guessed maybe it had its back to us. If it was, going away from them, it would have. And she said not much, if any, neck. And she sketched it when they got home, and he is going to send me a copy of that sketch. So, and then he says on his part, when she handed him the monocular, she was describing where the tree was that it was standing behind, and he said as he was scanning, he found the tree and nothing behind it. So he said he continued slowly scanning, and he saw a solid furry object coming into view from the left. It went from top to bottom of the screen quickly, and then looked like it dodged quickly to the left out of the view as if it was dodging the infrared. He said well, it looked like its hairy arm in motion went across the screen from left to right faster than what he was scanning. But he said his impression is it looked like it was maybe trying to get out of the way of the infrared light. He said, and even though it was in the tree line closely, he didn't hear it making any noise. And that's another common trait, that you hear these things getting up very close to people and them not hearing anything unless it goes running off or something. But anyway, very stealthy creatures. Well, they would have to do to avoid us as well as they do. But like I say, this is very near the little mountain town. It's hardly even big enough to be called a town, just a little place called Honobia that's there in the Kiamichi Mountains, and it's been made famous by the Bigfoot festival that they have there every year for the past several years. Now, I've investigated sightings in that general area a little further to the east, near a little place called Octavia. Years ago, I investigated a sighting by a fisherman on one of the creeks there, and I've also been on the place that another Bigfoot group, the North American Wood Ape Conservancy, I hope I'm saying that right. If Jerry Heston is one of my friends that's a part of that, and I've been to that area several times as well. I'm keeping that location confidential as well, out of respect for the group that has ongoing research there. But that whole area, it's just a hot spot. I mean, it's all mountains and woods. So anyway, that is that report. And I'll say thank you to Malcolm and Sabrina. And let me tell you, keep your eyes out for those two, because he let me in on a little something he's working on that will be a excellent research tool if they pull this off involving a vehicle. So I'm waiting to hear what they come up with that. So anyway, hope you all enjoyed that report, and if you're up there driving around in those mountains, just keep your eyes open, because you never know what you just might see in the tree line. So until next time.